Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into a dungeon crawling classic, Shining in the Darkness, a classic RPG that holds a special place in the hearts of retro gaming enthusiasts. Released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis, this dungeon crawler was a pioneer in first-person perspective RPGs on home consoles, setting the stage for what would become a beloved series in the Shining franchise. Developed by Climax Entertainment and Sonic Software Planning, Shining in the Darkness thrusts players into a fantasy world filled with intricate mazes, fierce battles, and a story brimming with classic RPG charm. The game's plot centers around the quest to find the missing princess and the protagonist's father, all while battling the forces of darkness that threaten the kingdom of Thornwood. Players navigate through sprawling dungeons, solve puzzles, and engage in turn-based combat, all presented in a vibrant, colorful art style that was a standout for its time. Despite its age, Shining in the Darkness is still praised for its challenging gameplay, memorable soundtrack, and the sense of mystery and adventure that it instills in players. It's a game that not only defined a genre, but also laid the groundwork for the future of the Shining series, making it a must-play for fans of retro RPGs. Before we move on, hit that subscribe button and stay up to date on more deep dives into retro gaming. The story of Shining in the Darkness unfolds in the kingdom of Thornwood, a peaceful realm now shrouded in mystery and danger. The game kicks off with a dire situation. The king's daughter, Princess Jessa, has gone missing, and your character's father, Mordred, has vanished while searching for her. As the protagonist, you are thrust into this chaotic scenario with a clear mission: find your father and rescue the princess before the forces of darkness overwhelm the kingdom. Thornwood itself is a land filled with familiar fantasy tropes, but what sets Shining in the Darkness apart is how it weaves these elements into a tale that feels both classic and engaging. The game's narrative structure is straightforward yet effective, giving players a strong sense of purpose right from the start. You begin your journey in the royal castle, where the king pleads for your help, setting the stage for the epic adventure that follows. Your quest takes you deep into the labyrinth, a sprawling, multi-level dungeon filled with traps, monsters, and puzzles. The labyrinth is central to the game's story, not just as the main setting, but as a symbol of the darkness that threatens to consume Thornwood. The deeper you delve into the labyrinth, the more you uncover about the sinister forces at play, including the mysterious Dark Soul, the primary antagonist whose power and ambition are at the heart of the kingdom's troubles. One of the story's strengths lies in its pacing. Shining in the Darkness doesn't rush you through its narrative. Instead, it carefully builds tension and intrigue, rewarding exploration and perseverance with deeper layers of the plot. The mystery surrounding Dark Soul and his connection to your father is a driving force throughout the game, keeping you invested in the outcome. Overall, the story of Shining in the Darkness is a quintessential tale of good versus evil, heroism, and the fight against overwhelming odds. It's a narrative that may seem simple by today's standards, but in its time, it was a compelling and immersive experience that captured the imaginations of countless players. Even today, it stands as a testament to the power of storytelling in video games, proving that a well-crafted tale can transcend the limitations of its era. Shining in the Darkness is a masterclass in classic dungeon crawling gameplay, setting the standard for many RPGs that followed. At its core, the game is a first-person, turn-based RPG that tasks players with navigating a labyrinthine dungeon while battling monsters, solving puzzles, and uncovering secrets. This gameplay loop is both simple and addictive, drawing players in with its challenging yet rewarding mechanics. The game begins in the peaceful kingdom of Thornwood, where you'll spend a significant amount of time outside the labyrinth preparing for your journeys. In the town, you can visit various shops to purchase and upgrade weapons, armor, and items, all of which are essential for survival in the depths of the dungeon. The town also serves as a hub for gathering information from NPCs saving your game, and managing your party. Once you enter the labyrinth, the game shifts into its signature first-person perspective. This was a bold and innovative design choice at the time, offering players an immersive experience as they explore the dungeon's winding corridors. Movement is grid-based, meaning you move one step at a time, turning at 90-degree angles. This might sound basic by today's standards, but it's this very mechanic that gives the labyrinth its claustrophobic, intense atmosphere. As you delve deeper into the dungeon, you'll encounter a wide variety of monsters, each with unique strengths, weaknesses, and attack patterns. Combat is turn-based, requiring strategic use of your party's abilities. You control a party of 3 characters: the protagonist, who is a balanced fighter, Pyra, a powerful magic user, and Milo, the healer. Each character has their own set of skills and spells, which you'll need to use wisely to survive the increasingly tough battles. Balancing offense, defense, and resource management such as conserving magic points and healing items is key to making it through the labyrinth's many dangers. The labyrinth itself is divided into multiple levels, each with its own layout and theme. Early levels are relatively straightforward, serving as an introduction to the game's mechanics, but as you progress, the maze-like design becomes more complex. You'll face dead ends, hidden passages, and teleportation traps that can disorient you, making it easy to get lost. Mapping out the dungeon on graph paper was a common practice among players back in the day, as the in-game map is limited and only provides a rough idea of your current location. Overall, the gameplay of Shining in the Darkness is a carefully crafted blend of exploration, strategy, and resource management. It's a game that demands patience and perseverance, rewarding those who take the time to master its mechanics with a deeply satisfying adventure. Despite its age, the gameplay remains engaging, providing a nostalgic trip for those who played it back in the day and a solid challenge for newcomers to retro RPGs. The graphics and sound design of Shining in the Darkness are key elements that contribute to its enduring appeal. Released in 1991 on the Sega Genesis, the game took full advantage of the console's capabilities, delivering visuals and audio that were impressive for the time and still hold a certain charm today. Visually, Shining in the Darkness stands out with its bright, colorful art style. The game's first-person perspective was a bold choice, especially considering the limitations of the hardware. Each area in the labyrinth is rendered in a series of detailed, hand-drawn tiles, which create the illusion of depth and perspective as you move through the dungeon. The labyrinth itself is a marvel of design, with each level featuring unique themes and color palettes that help to distinguish one area from another. From the eerie, stone-clad corridors of the early levels to the more vibrant and intricate designs found deeper in the dungeon, the game's visual variety keeps exploration engaging and visually stimulating. Character and monster designs are another highlight. The game's artists imbued each enemy with distinct personality and flair, making encounters memorable. Whether it's the eerie gaze of the skeleton warriors, the menacing appearance of Dark Soul, or the playful yet dangerous look of the lesser monsters, each design reflects the game's mix of lighthearted fantasy and darker undertones. The animation, though limited by the era's standards, is smooth and fluid, particularly in battle scenes where spells and attacks are accompanied by flashy effects that add to the excitement of combat. Shining in the Darkness features a soundtrack that perfectly complements its gameplay and story. Composed by the talented Motoaki Takenouchi, the music is a blend of adventurous, upbeat tracks and darker, more atmospheric pieces that set the mood for exploration and combat. The town theme is light and cheerful, inviting players to take their time and prepare for their journey, while the labyrinth themes are more mysterious and tense, heightening the sense of danger as you delve deeper into the dungeon. The battle music, with its driving rhythm and energetic melody, adds a sense of urgency to each encounter, making even routine battles feel significant. The sound effects in the game are simple but effective. The clashing of swords, the whoosh of spells, and the grunts of monsters all serve to make the world feel more alive and interactive. Despite the Genesis's limited sound capabilities, the game's audio design manages to create a rich and immersive experience. The sound effects for various spells and attacks are particularly well done, with each having its own distinct audio cue that makes it easy to recognize what's happening in the heat of battle. Overall, the graphics and sound of Shining in the Darkness are a testament to the creativity and technical skill of the development team. The game's visual and audio elements work together to create an immersive and engaging world that draws players in and keeps them hooked from start to finish. Even decades after its release, the game's presentation remains one of its strongest aspects, providing a nostalgic journey for those who remember it and a vivid introduction to the world of classic RPGs for new players. Shining in the Darkness is more than just a classic RPG. It's a cornerstone of the genre, particularly on the Sega Genesis. It set the stage for an entire series and left a lasting impact on the RPG landscape, both for Sega and the broader gaming community. The game's legacy can be seen in several key areas. Its influence on subsequent games in the Shining series, its contribution to the evolution of dungeon crawlers, and its enduring appeal to retro gaming enthusiasts. First and foremost, Shining in the Darkness is the progenitor of the Shining series, a franchise that would go on to become one of Sega's most beloved. The success of Shining in the Darkness paved the way for its sequel, Shining Force, which took the series in a new direction by adopting a tactical RPG format. Shining Force would become even more popular, establishing a legacy of its own. But it's important to recognize that Shining in the Darkness laid the groundwork. Elements like the game's rich fantasy world, memorable characters, and engaging gameplay mechanics would carry over and evolve in the subsequent Shining titles, creating a cohesive and beloved series. Moreover, Shining in the Darkness helped solidify the Sega Genesis as a viable platform for RPGs, a genre that was traditionally more associated with Nintendo systems. Its success showed that the Genesis could compete in this space, leading to a richer and more diverse library of RPGs on the system. For many players, Shining in the Darkness was their first introduction to the world of RPGs, and it played a crucial role in expanding the genre's popularity on console. The game's legacy is also evident in its enduring appeal among retro gamers. Even today, Shining in the Darkness is fondly remembered as a challenging and rewarding experience, with many fans returning to it for a dose of nostalgia or to introduce it to new players. Its status as a cult classic is bolstered by the fact that it has been re-released on various platforms over the years, including the Sega MegaDrive Classics collection and virtual consoles, ensuring that it remains accessible to modern audiences. The game's charm, challenge, and distinctive style have allowed it to stand the test of time, proving that a well-crafted RPG can be just as engaging today as it was over 3 decades ago. The legacy of Shining in the Darkness is one of innovation, influence, and enduring appeal. It was a game that helped define a genre, launched a beloved series, and continues to be celebrated by gamers around the world. Whether you're a longtime fan revisiting an old favorite or a newcomer curious about the roots of the Shining series, Shining in the Darkness offers a glimpse into the past of RPG gaming, with lessons and experiences that remain relevant to this day. Thank you for joining us. If you like this deep dive into the retro world of Shining in the Darkness, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, keep questing and keep gaming.